So I want to start off by personally talking about my experience in high school. Um, just what I've learned and what I took from those 4 years. So I recently graduated this year and I started in 2021. So everything was a lot differently. It worked differently from when I started. It was like right after the pandemic was more opening up and we started wearing masks and stuff. But very early on, I'd say into sophomore year, I understood that a lot of the stuff that I'm supposed to be learning and that they're teaching is completely irrelevant. And I say that not because it can't be useful, but it's more that when will I directly apply this stuff when I get older and when it's my turn to actually be in the real world? And that is the whole concept and why I'm talking about this. Because I genuinely believe that school, the whole education system, is designed and it it purposely doesn't set us up to succeed after high school. And I say that because I'm gonna harbor to my experiences and that the most useful classes that I took in high school came in senior year, my senior year. And the most useful class I ever took was econ, and it's because it's required. I think that's excellent. That absolutely should be required because it's good to teach these kids, these young adults, about economics and how it works, you know, because that's basically a big part of all of our lives, whether we're not focused on it or not. It's all around us, right? Like you work a job, you want to know exactly how that money is working and the economy around you. That's how we function, right? That's how we're built on as a society. And unfortunately, we're born into that world, right? So we have the best we can do is try to understand it and see how we can possibly exploit it, right? That's why I say that was the most important class I ever took. But how come I'm only taking that class for one semester, right? Something as important as that is more important, that I believe, than learning about world history. And that's not to dig on world history or history in general. I do think it's important, but there's certain classes that are definitely more important than that. But we're required to take that, at least in my school district, for an entire school year. And I'm just thinking, because most of the shit that we talked about, I took standard classes, by the way. I was never one to apply myself to be in a higher level class, so I don't know what AP World History, if that was even a thing, or AP US History. There's no way in hell I was doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because history, it's interesting to me, but it's not interesting enough where I think I want to challenge myself on it. No, but to get back on track here, I'm talking like I'm only why are they requiring us to take econ but for one semester and then split it the other half government, which is the second, arguably I can argue the second most important class that I ever took during my high school. Um those two are really important, but why not give it a full year? Give a government in junior year and require that for the whole year, or vice versa, and flip it and put economics for a whole year. Hell, just make it two classes that you're required to take in senior year, right? Not just for half semester, the whole year, because there's a lot you can learn there. There's a lot you can harbor on. And I guess if you want to advance that and what you want, if you want to learn more about it, you go to college. But we're going to talk about that real soon. Okay, it's not just high school, because I am a college student and we're going to talk about that. But just in high school in general, they focus on the less important things, I feel like, right? At least in my district, it was you're required to take English all 4 years. Absolutely, right? Help us become better in a language that we know. It's not a language class. It's learning different functions of English, right? Like how to write, how to structure things, how to read properly, how to be better writers, right? Absolutely, that's good. We need that. We need more literacy in the world, especially in kids our generation and the next generation. Absolutely, it's important. But if is that required 4 years? But math, at least in my district, you're only required to take two classes. That means you can do it in freshman and sophomore year, sophomore, junior, or junior, senior. Math is the most important subject, to me at least. That's in my opinion. It is the most important subject, and we're only, at least in my district, of course, I don't know, other districts are going to be different, but 2 years of math, bro, people already don't want to motivate themselves to do math because that shit can get hard for the average student, right? Like me, I used to be good at math, and then I came to high school and I realized I suck at this, and there's no shame in that, right? But I applied myself to take all 4 years of math, even though I wasn't required, because I knew I can gain a lot from that and learn a lot if that I want to, right? That's that's the whole point. That's good, right? But make it a requirement, because I know kids my age, especially young adults, kids around that age, they don't want to learn. They gotta, either the school system knows that, the higher education system, they know that and they're not doing anything about it, or they know it and they're trying, but they're not trying hard enough because they fail to realize that kids and young adults, they don't want to learn that shit. They want to socialize. They want to do the other things outside of school, right? And they see most, I want to say most, but a good majority of kids, they see school as just like, oh, damn, I gotta go to school, right? And I was like that too, but I never complained when I went to school because I didn't hate going to school. I didn't like going to school, but I actually just enjoyed because I like go seeing the things I want to go see. But I was never against learning, right? Because I do want to learn. I do want to get smarter in some areas, but they're failing to structure it properly. They give you the choices of electives, and they give you these choices of, yeah, you can only take 2 if you want to, right? That's no. I feel like English and math is the essential classes you should take in high school, at least in America, right? Of course, it's different across the world. The So it's like, that's how I view it, right? Science, like, yes, it's important. It's good to know. It's good to be educated on that. That one I could see being more lenient on you being optional and taking this amount of years of science. Absolutely, right? I took science 3 years. Yeah, I took science 3 years in my high school. I did earth and space, biology, chemistry, and I did psychology, chemistry and psychology in my junior year, right? So I thought that was important, but I didn't have to take that. I only had to take 2 uh, science courses in my high school life. But I did more. I pushed myself because I knew I could learn a lot from there. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to and why it's so flawed, the school system. It's not that the students don't try hard enough, although there is students like that. It's that they aren't providing you and aren't encouraging you to learn more. In fact, they're encouraging you to do less. And I think that's extremely wrong because you have to push these kids. You're going to have to, because then when they graduate after high school, they're not going to know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where they get it all fucked up. And then they're going to go and blame the school, and they're going to tell younger kids, like, yeah, man, like, all that school shit, that's not important. You don't got to worry about that. Like, grades, don't worry about discipline. No, you should worry about that, because ultimately school, they try to make it to where the most they're going to teach you after high school and what you should learn is how to apply yourself, right? And to be on time with things. They're going to teach you all this irrelevant shit, right? I guarantee you 90% of what you learn in high school is going to be complete fucking bullshit and you don't care about. And rightfully so, right? Because they want you to pick and choose what you want to learn. If they want you to already know and have a game plan after high school of what you're going to do. Yes, at that age, you should vaguely know what you're going to do. But what they fail to realize is that kids that age, they don't know what they want to do because they don't know what they're going to get into, because schools don't teach that. They don't require the things that we should be learning at that age, because guess what? Life's going to come like that. It's going to come real fast. Bills are going to come up. Jobs are going to have to take place. Financing is going to take a huge part of your life. And these kids aren't being taught that. Instead, they're having the option to take electives in senior year just so they can fill up a class schedule. What? Like, how is that reasonable? How is that working? It's not working, because in this generation, we're fucking stupid. We don't know what we're doing. We're relying on online stuff, what we see on TikTok and Instagram when we scroll, to fall back on, to learn from, because we're learning more off that than we are at school. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it comes to that point. And that's what's so frustrating about it, because really shouldn't be that way. And that's why I think it's designed that way, because they realize they work hand in hand with colleges. Because now we're going to talk about college. Going to college, it's really a gamble, because, you know, I'll never bash on community college. And considering I took the community college, and I never let people say that we're going to high universities. You know, there's no problem going to high universities. That's what you want to do. If you believe that's going to give you the best education, go for it. Do it. Go shoot for the stars, aim for the moon, right? Absolutely. I'm never going to bash that, okay? It's your decision. I purposely chose community college because I don't want to be in debt by the time for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life, I don't want to be paying off these student loans, right? Because it's a fucking scam. You can learn the same things at these higher universities and colleges at community college for a significantly lower amount of price. And that's why I think it's beneficial. Yeah, community college is not as exciting, but it's definitely less stressful. It's less on your plate, and you're given the same education, right? And yeah, you'll pay more after your 2-3 years. It's free, right? You still gotta pay. Nothing's free in this world. But like, it's not something to bash on. Don't ever let anybody bash on you because you're going to community college. In fact, it's smarter. In fact, I would encourage more people, if I could, to go to community college first before deciding what they want to do after. Because half the time, I'm going to be keeping it a buck. Half the time I feel like I'm going to college because I don't know what I'm going to do in this world. I don't know what I'm here for. I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, and it feels like I'm just delaying the inevitable, and I'm just going to end up a shitty career, a shitty job, 9 to 5, that I don't want to work. And I hate that, but that might be the reality. We don't have a choice really anymore what we want to do. We have a choice of where we want to go to school, right? If we can afford it. But do we have a choice of how successful we're going to be? No, because we aren't in control of that. There's a club and we're not in it, and we're here to pick off the scraps, right? We're here to make our own path, but that own path ends up being a shitty path that all of us end up depressed in. I know not everybody. There's a select few that are blessed enough to live a life that isn't of anguish and that isn't of stress, right? But to the common folk, me, you, everybody else that you know, 9 out of 10 times, we're going to be living a life that is hard. And absolutely, life should be hard. But going to school, delaying that inevitable, I feel like that's half of America when going to college. They don't know what they want to do until their final 2 years, I'd say, of college and getting their bachelor's, right? Of their career. They don't know what they're going to do. That's why they do these other classes like general ed and these other little things as backup plans. They're more invested in backup plans than their real careers and their real plans, because they don't know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, right? That's what's scary about it. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, right? So that's why I'm taking advantage of what a free college offers. And that's the beneficial part, because some people are still in this mindset. I can't believe it, right? Whether it's the parents forcing it or the propaganda they see online, but they genuinely believe that they have to go to a high level college, an expensive college, a private college, in order to get the best education. When that's simply just not true. It is simply not true. You don't know. It's how much you apply yourself at these colleges. It's how much you apply yourself and take time to be on time and do your work, right? That's what it's really about. But they get so caught up in the name value. At this point, they're going to college just based off the name and the heritage of the campus, which is completely backwards and I think wrong. And that's why I have such a problem with it, because these schools, these colleges, they're going to scam the fuck out of you. They're going to drain every penny that you got, that you earned for the rest of your life until you can pay it off, right? That's the trap. Student loans, that's how it works. They're trying to bribe you in, say, we're going to offer the best education. They're going to lean off past glories and student successes like, oh, yeah, look, we had this many graduates, this many people be successful. Hey, look at these celebrities and people successful that went to our college, right? That's That's how they lure you in and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the best education. But you might fucking hate it and drop out, and then what? And then you're left with all that debt. Then you're left with all that money that you gotta pay up for because you realize, hey, college just isn't for me, right? And it's not gonna be for everybody. That's why before hopping into that, it's good to plan 2 years, I'd say, before you graduate and say, okay, let's have a plan. What do I really want to learn, right? What do I like in high school enough that I'm learning about, that I actually understand, that I can see myself doing and liking in the future? That's what it should be about. But no, they're forcing this other shit down your throats, and they're leaving it up to you and just say, hey, they're just saying, fuck it. Go and learn what you want to learn. Go and do what you want to do. We're going to kick back and we're just going to hope you be successful so we can be another statistic to a lot of people. That's what it really is. That's the cycle that we live in, right? And in a society that pushes, oh yeah, you have to go to college to be successful. You don't. You really don't. A lot of successful people dropped out, but don't let that be you, where you're like, oh yeah, all these successful people, I can be just like them. They dropped out, I'm gonna drop out. No. It's about how much you apply yourself. It's about who you know, right? It's really about who you know and how much you can exploit the system. And honestly, it's about how much you can sell out to be successful like those guys. If you're willing to do that, if you're willing to have no spine or soul, absolutely go for it. Drop out, do what you want to do, right? But honestly, it's all rigged. It's all just a system designed to fail us when we grow up, when we are out there, when we're making our own connections. That's what it is, right? Because I guarantee you, do not stress. Do not stress about fucking, oh yeah, integrated math 1, right? Oh fuck, pre-calc, honors. Unless you're about that, unless you want to do math and your love of the game don't get ruined, pursue that. Learn all that you can from that, because you go pursue a career in that. Go to STEM. Go do all this stuff. Go do technology. Go do engineering. Go do mathematics. Go do science. Go do all that. Go do all that. If you're really interested in math, learn everything you can from math, right? Don't worry about other shit, right? Because if you're confident in yourself, you're going to pick and choose. You're going to pick and choose in a system that's designed purposely, rigged against us, right? Because that's what it is. That is simply what it is. We're going to have to make our own path. And the school's just going to, I don't know when it's going to change. The school's just going to be like, oh yeah, all of our students are successful. Congratulations, class, on graduating. You learned absolutely nothing in your 4 years except for what you want to learn. But we're going to take all the credit. We're going to take all the credit for the hard work that you put in. We're going to take all the credit for the hours that you didn't want to come to school, but you still did because you realized that the economy around you, the job networking, all of it is fucked. But hey, we're going to take the credit for the work that you put in. And that's America. That's fucking America, baby. That is it for you. That is basically it. People are getting dumber than ever. Prices are getting higher than ever. And we're left wondering, what the fuck are we doing? And school fails us. A school should be the place. It is a place that they want us to require to go to. Then they should be required to fucking make it a place worth going to, so you can learn everything that you can that will be beneficial to you. Not irrelevant bullshit, right? Not all this irrelevant bullshit. Oh yeah, go ahead and choose one of these elective classes, since I know your schedule's kind of light. Senior year, you need 5 classes. Like, yeah, just choose bullshit. Just fuck around. No, that's a prime year. People in senior year are typically 17 to 18, sometimes 19, sometimes 16. Exceptions, right? It's, especially at that young of age, that's dangerous. That is scary. That then they're being teach all this bullshit when their mind's not fully developed. My mind's not even fully developed, right? I could be talking out of my ass for all I know, but I do know just from my experiences and my friends' experience, they're like, yeah, dude, school's completely fucking useless 95% of the time. The 5% that isn't is because we make it not useless, because we find ways by ourselves to make it interesting, to make it something we want to learn and beneficial. That's how it works. But the school's going to take all the credit for that. And they're going to boast numbers and be like, oh, all these graduates are so successful and all this, as if they did fucking jack shit and did basically no work. All they did was assign you the classes. That's what they did. And they're assigning you shitty classes. Then useful ones, oh, it's okay. You only get a semester to do those classes. That is fucking ridiculous. That is some bullshit. It is completely backwards. And I feel bad for the next generation, honestly, because they're gonna be slaves. A lot of people already were before me. A lot of people were during my reign, and a lot of people will be after. They'll be fucking slaves to this shit, and they'll just dread school more and more, and then the school's gonna keep fighting them more bullshit, and that's, at some point a line's got to be drawn. A lot of things got to be changed, but they probably won't. Let's be honest, right? Especially since they're defunding the education system. They want to defund it. I'd understand if it was completely backwards and they're doing it for the right reasons, but no, the Department of the Education System, no, they just want to defund so they can save more money and get more money to themselves. Fuck that. That's fucking bullshit. No wonder they want to keep these kids out of school and shit, and they don't want them to learn, because so they can be fucking completely brain mushed up here and just like, oh, mind numbing around and sucking up to everybody. That's what they want. And I really hope it doesn't come to that. But who fucking knows? We're fucking doomed scrolling on our phones. We're slaves to that. What makes you think it won't be at a school? Something that they want us to require to go to every day. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm making a lot of sense here, at least to me, right? And it's just upsetting. That's why I want to become a teacher. I want to be at least a beacon of hope, at least a role model, a guide, or something, so these kids aren't completely fucking cooked by the time they're graduate and they decide, oh, do I want to go to college, or do I want to work? Do I want to go to the army? Do I want to do whatever the fuck you want? Be homeless? Like, you know what I'm saying? Pick whatever career. You want to be a fucking trapper in the hood? Go be a trapper in the hood. You want to be a rapper from the suburbs? Go be a rapper from the suburbs. Like, absolutely, like, at least be a beacon of hope. That's what I want to be. I want to try to be something like that. Somebody people can look up to, like a role model, and be like, hey, like, you help me out, like, you actually teach me shit and making it fun and engaging, because that's what it's gonna have to be. We're so desensitized and our attention span is so fucking low, right? We can't go 5 minutes without being on our phone, so we're gonna have to be engaging. Future generations of teachers, they're gonna have to learn how to make it fun and engaging, and work with this bullshit that the schools give them. That's how it's going to have to be. It's going to be a challenge. Absolutely. It already is a challenge, because people don't want to be motivated around that age. They don't. Simply, they don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told how to live their life. They want to be free. They don't want to learn. They just want to socialize, right? And that's how it's hard. It's hard being in high school. But I believe it stems from being a kid, right? Disabilities come into factor too. Autism, attention span, like ADD, like all this shit comes into play. It does. I understand that, right? So those guys and gals, they have exceptions, right? Because learning might be harder for them. It might be, right? But I'm talking about the majority. That's a different problem on its own that we can talk about. But I'm simply just talking about in general. I believe it stems from elementary, right? Elementary kids, elementary teachers, they're trying hard enough, because they're kids, right? Like, they're unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. They don't know how much they want to learn and all this. But you could try your best. And then you could try your best in middle school, too, when things start getting ramped up. And they're like, okay. People, they're in their teenage years. They're like, I don't know, man. This school shit seems kind of lame. I just want to go home and play games. I just want to talk to girls. I just want to talk to guys, right? And it's the same old in high school. That's basically what it is, right? Except now we're on the cusp of actual responsibilities where it affects our lives, right? Like, all this shit's coming out, and they still just want to feed us the same bullshit. That's really what it is, and it's really unfortunate. It's really sad, and it's broken. It's rigged, it's broken, and it's designed that way on purpose. In this modern age, especially, it's designed that way so we can all just be stupid and all be dumb. And I don't want that. That's scary. It's really scary, especially considering how much dumb people we already have in this world, how much we surround it. You'd be surprised. You probably don't see it walking down the street, but you'd be surprised how many people really are this dumb and stupid, including myself, by the way. I'm not perfect. I've made a bunch of dumb shit, especially even today. I've done a lot of dumb stuff at my job, right? But Like on an educational level, it's different because you don't want people being dumb in that unless you're trying to rig it on purpose, which they are. So that's why I had to talk about it today. That's why I had to discuss it, because it's something I've noticed for a long time now, a couple of years at this point. So, more of the story, what should we be stressing about in school? Like, we decide, right? The school will try to force it. They'll try to pressure us into taking bullshit classes, but you should ultimately decide what you want to stress out about, stress out on in school. Because it's your education, it's your choice, it's your career that you want to pursue, it's your path, and that's how it should be. That's what it should be, absolutely. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today's video. Still trying to get better at this whole thing. I don't know. Any feedback's good feedback. How I should do my videos. Still new to all this, so I'm just gonna stick to talking until I find something better. Every day I plan on dropping a video. Every day I plan on making something new, and just talking about things that I want to talk about, things that are important, things that even aren't important. Just some chill stuff to distract our minds a little bit from what I'm talking about, because even I need that. Everybody needs that, right? So we're not always just caught up and stressed 24/7. So you got to talk about the lighthearted stuff. But yeah, that was today's video. Moral of the story: don't believe in the school. Everything's bullshit. Learn what you want to learn. Don't let the school take credit for it, even if they try their hardest. Yeah, that'll be it. See you on the next video. So first and foremost, before this video properly starts, I just want to clarify that during my high school tenure, I wasn't the brightest student, okay? I didn't excel in my classes, but I wasn't bad in my classes, okay? I was probably really just an average, middle-of-the-pack student, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying that just to say is because I've experienced both being in the situation of excelling in high school and also failing in high school. So I can understand in this conversation how I have something to say about it. So with that being said, keep that in mind when I'm discussing it. So just so you don't think I have any bias, because I've experienced both sides. So today I wanted to talk about just the school education system in America, especially in today's age, because I'm not going to say and sit here and I'm not going to sit here and say that schools should automatically just provide us with the right things, because yes, they should, but it's on the students to take what they get from the school to learn. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, like you can put the blame on the students or the school. It really depends. Sometimes it's both of them and you get a shitstorm, right? But what I want to talk about is, especially from my experiences and other people's experiences around me that are close, and how they viewed school necessarily and the importance of what they're doing and going to school every day.